In today's video, we look at the 11 countries that Kenyans can visit visa-free with a Canadian visa, but they would ordinarily require a visa if they didn't have a Canadian visa. So this video was inspired by maybe 2 or 3 comments that I got from my video on the 7 things you didn't know you can do with your Canadian visa. So quickly, let's take a look. And I have split the video into 3 parts. So we are going to look at, let's say, for example, in Africa, what countries can you visit, in Europe, and the like. So I don't know if you are aware, but with your Kenyan passport, you can travel to only 68 countries, either visa-free or with a visa on arrival. But with a Canadian visa, you suddenly are able to travel to 11 more countries that you would necessarily need a visa, but you can travel visa-free just with your Canadian visa. So Kenyans can visit 11 more countries visa-free simply by having a valid Canadian visitor visa on their passport. And another advantage of this provision is that obviously, other than the fact that it saves you time, money, and the humiliation of visiting yet another embassy, is that you can visit this other country simultaneously on your Canadian trip. So this video is for you if you've ever wondered whether with a Kenyan passport and a Canadian tourist visa you can visit Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, etc. or not. So, or if you have questions like, can I go or can I visit Cuba, Dominican Republic, or Georgia with a Canadian visa as a Kenyan national? Yes, yes, and yes. So one thing I love about this visa is that once you apply for your visa, they will give you either let's say if you have a new passport. Kenyan passports last for 10 years. So if your visa is valid for 10 years, if your passport is still valid for 10 years, then they'll give you a 10-year multiple entry visa. Or if, let's say, you have like 7 years left on your visa, they'll give you a multiple entry 7-year visa. So at least that's the last time I checked. So let's quickly go through the list of countries that Kenyans can go to with a Canadian tourist visa. So in North America, you can visit, of course, Canada and Mexico. In Central America, with your Canadian visa as a Kenyan national, you can visit Costa Rica and Panama. In the Caribbean, as a Kenyan national, with your Kenyan passport and a Canadian tourist visa, you can visit Dominican Republic. In South America, unfortunately, there's no country that will waive for you a visa just by virtue of having a Canadian visa. In Europe, you can visit 4 main countries, but there's like a caveat. So for example, you will visit Turkey with your Canadian tourist visa, but it's not like you're gonna visit Turkey visa-free, but it gives you eligibility to apply for a 30-day e-visa. For Georgia, you can, with your Canadian tourist visa, you can stay for up to 90 calendar days in any 180-day period. And then for Macedonia, your Canadian visa must be valid for at least 5 days beyond the intended period of stay in the Republic of Macedonia. And you can stay for a maximum of up to 15 days at any given entry on the territory, while the total duration of your consecutive stays in the Republic of Macedonia must not exceed 3 months in any 6-month period calculated from the day of your first entry. United Kingdom, yes, with your Canadian tourist visa and a Kenyan passport, you might be eligible for transit without a visa in the United Kingdom if you arrive and depart by air. You have a confirmed onward flight that leaves on the day you arrive or before midnight on the day after you arrive. And you have the right documents for your destination, that is a visa for that country. And also one of the following must apply. You are traveling to or on part of a reasonable journey to Canada and you have a valid visa, or you're traveling from or on part of a reasonable journey from Canada and you have a valid visa for that country. This visa is only available, this privilege to use your Canadian visa to visa on a Kenyan passport is only available at Heathrow Airport, and you won't be able to transit without a visa if a border force officer decides you don't qualify under the immigration rules. Okay, let's look at Middle East. What countries in the Middle East can a Kenyan passport holder travel to with a Canadian visa to visa? Qatar. So Qatar is not visa-free travel for you as a Kenyan, but the Canadian visa entitles you to obtain an electronic travel authorization, that is an ETA, free of charge, by completing an online application prior to traveling. So once your request has been approved, you will receive your ETA, allowing you to obtain a visa on arrival in Qatar. Africa, none. So there's no country that will allow you to visit them in Africa as a Kenyan just because you have a Canadian visa. In Asia, we have South Korea. So if you hold a multiple entry Canadian visa and you are on transit to Canada through Korea, or stay in Canada and take a direct flight from Canada to Korea to go to Kenya or a third country, then you can visit South Korea without a visa. You must also have a flight ticket that is scheduled to depart from Korea within 30 days and have never violated any laws, for example, overstaying or stuff like that. And after entering the United States, Canada, Australia, or New Zealand. What is my personal recommendation? So while your travel strategy might involve starting with the visa-free countries or the visa on arrival countries as a Kenyan, my personal recommendation is that if you can, get yourself a multiple entry Canadian visit visa, and we have so many videos on the channel that cover just that. And this applies especially if extended travel is part of that strategy. Not only because it is your gateway to visit Canada on a whim, but also the power, quote unquote, that the Canadian visa adds to your passport. And why not take advantage of this hassle-free Canadian visa application for Kenyan passport holders? Everything is done online. You only go to Westlands at the, I don't know, they call them VSF office for your biometrics, and then everything else you do it online. So this not only is gonna save you money, time, but it will also save you the humiliation of going through visa application processes for an additional 11 countries. So with a Canadian visa to visa, your Kenyan passport suddenly now allows entry into 11 more countries, in addition to the 72 countries Kenyan nationals can visit either visa-free or with a visa on arrival. So suddenly you have 83 countries you can visit with your Kenyan passport. But if you're still not convinced as to why you need to get yourself a Canadian visa, you need to check the video, the next video that we'll be showing somewhere up here, or is it here, where I tell you the 7 things you didn't know you can do with your Canadian visit visa. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. I will see you on the next one. Bye.